A spiritual leader from India said that New York is a nervous city. What is your impression of New York?
In all big cities, people are rushing around. Hustle and bustle is the foundation in all major cities. When the population exceeds 1 million, the hustle begins. Because people are under the influence of each other, and this creates tension when people work together, strive for something. We also conducted such research. We observed people during our festival. 1,000 people gathered together in an enclosed space for the festival. There are no strangers there. And after about 3 days, such an atmosphere of purity, calmness, and peace is created. People wake up early naturally, feel very good, and rest. Because the energy of people who gather together, even though it's 1,000 people, brings a very pleasant feeling. The tension itself is not related to this city. The quality of the area, of course, also has a tremendous impact. And if we talk about the qualities of this city, the energy of power strongly influences here. Just like in Moscow, just like in Kiev, there is also this energy there, but it's smaller. Here the energy of power is off the charts.
They kicked Trump out so he wouldn't interfere with life here.
This is the energy of large cities. All large cities are like capitals. St. Petersburg and Moscow as well, this energy is everywhere. If you take some provincial town, people are simpler there, they look different, their influence is not the same. And the peculiarity of the country itself, I have already said that in this country the power of dignity is very pronounced, and therefore there are special features in people's behavior and relationships. People can be very open, sociable, but they accept a person slowly. And if something is wrong, they can reject very quickly, firmly, and decisively. Self-esteem is the foundation for life. You need to be able to protect your interests, your rights, yourself as a person. You need to be optimistic. Bright, optimistic, brave, decisive people who are not weak are valued here. The nature of this country, this area, is like that. If people are tuned this way, they feel good here. On the other hand, a person who gets lost, let's say, feels some insecurity, some internal difficulties, they will suffer here because people will not perceive them very well. You need to be a strong, bright person here. But there is one more thing that needs to be deeply understood. According to the Vedas, there are 2 planets which are invisible and shadow. These are the demonic planets Rahu and Ketu. The planet Rahu makes people very impudent, arrogant, prone to drinking, swearing. And this planet influences Russia and Ukraine. And the planet Ketu, on the contrary. People become cold, cruel. It's difficult for them to get close to each other, difficult to be together, create families, relationships. But Ketu makes a person secretive. Ketu means a person will not always reveal what is inside them in reality. And Rahu makes a person arrogant and cruel. Here people treat each other more politely, but they can act very harshly, in a kind way, of course. And in Russia, on the contrary, they can curse at you and still behave decently in the end. That's the difference. Some people like when others behave more tactfully. And at the same time, they like a sense of freedom and independence from other people. Some people like such a space where there is an opportunity to be alone. The more eastern the country, the less such space there is. In India, people live in large families, and it is very difficult to remain alone. I know a wealthy man in India who deals with precious stones. And I asked him, why do you live with your children, with your grandchildren? You have one house for all of you. Isn't it difficult for you to live together like this? He says, on the contrary, it's good. I say, maybe it's better to build separate houses for the children? He says, are you cursing me? This means I won't see my children or grandchildren. This was in the morning. At this time his children come in, they bow to him and touch his feet. They have respect for the father, they honor the elders. And with such an attitude toward each other, of course, it's pleasant to live together. And when people don't respect each other, then problems begin. You can understand what culture is like simply by the apartment itself, by how it is arranged. Take a 2-bedroom apartment, for example, in America. It's 2 rooms with separate bathrooms and a common living room. And in Russia, this would be a 3-room apartment. This means that people here are used to having separate territory. And a 2-bedroom apartment means 2 people should live there, ideally.
They don't count rooms, but how many bedrooms you have.
This means that people here need separate space. People cannot live together. In Russia, it's more or less the same. And in Georgia, people are more family-oriented. In India, they don't live separately at all. They all live in large families. Same in Kazakhstan. Therefore, the culture and energy of the area differs greatly everywhere. The mentality of people differs enormously. Everywhere on the earth, wherever I have been, all people have their own culture, their own mentality, their own advantages and disadvantages. You cannot say that people are better somewhere or worse somewhere. People are good everywhere. They are just special everywhere. Here too, people have peculiarities that I have emphasized to you. I told you what you need to be like here. I feel the energy of this place very well. There is the power of authority here. The city is influential, strong. The power of authority is the energy of the sun. Big cities are always strongly influenced by the sun. Ketu is an invisible planet. It makes people very strong internally, dignified, and separated from each other. It's harder to create families here than in Russia. That means people think for a long time before getting together. They need to weigh everything, understand everything. The same at work. You need to prove that you are a good specialist. You need to prove it. They won't just believe you. It takes time to prove. They will look at you, watch you, observe you.
So it turns out that if a well-mannered, intelligent, kind person lives in this city, trying to help other people, then people don't respect them.
No, please sit down. Not like that. Absolutely not like that. I didn't say that. The kindness of people is present everywhere. It depends on people's culture. Here are cultured people who are very grateful for help. And good deeds can be done everywhere, including here. Why not? I didn't say that people don't respect good deeds. They will be very grateful for them. It's just harder for people to get close to each other here. People can smile at you, hug you, but still remain distant from you. On the outside, it seems like you've already become friends, but inside, the person is still somehow on their own, doesn't get close, there's no connection. It's harder to make close contact. But if a connection is established, then it's established for a long time. That means if there is a connection, then it's already established for a long time. Relationships become very tight and you can't break them afterwards. But for them to form, it takes time, it takes effort. That's how it works here. And in Russia, relationships are created quickly and broken quickly.
My child is 5 years old. He doesn't talk. Doctors say autism. But all other aspects of his health are fine.
Let's study what autism is. A person has a subtle energy body and a physical body. The physical body is nourished by the energy of the subtle body. There are only 3 types of energy, and these energies belong to the soul. We are the soul, eternal soul. It has a subtle body that takes energy from nature, from the surrounding world, and supplies it to the physical body. And the soul has only 3 energies in total. The soul has consciousness, and consciousness has 3 energies of happiness. We all want happiness, love. As in the song, people cannot live without love. An hour without love is a wasted hour. We feel good when we love, even if we are not loved in return. Second, the energy of knowledge. People are designed this way. They want to know what will happen. Third, the energy of eternity. Everyone wants to live. No one wants to die. Everyone wants to live. Everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to love. These 3 energies also work in the body. The energy of eternity moves the vessels. Blood flows through the vessels with the help of this energy. It's called Prana in Sanskrit, or life force. It means the energy of eternity. Nerve impulses, a person's thinking, are also the energy of eternity. Everything that moves in the body is the energy of eternity. The energy of knowledge is responsible for transformation and chemical reactions in the body. This is the energy of knowledge. And the energy of happiness is the absorption of nutrients. And we have 5 layers of the human energy field, one deeper than the other. What are the energy layers needed for? To give strength to the body so that it can live. And we have 2 types of functions. There are mental functions and there are physical functions. In each energy layer, there is a zone for mental functions and a zone for physical functions. The 5th energy layer is the deepest. It is located deepest in the body. And it is responsible for the nervous system, for deep functions. As scientists call it, the second signal system. It is responsible for deep mental functions, for thinking and speech. The 5th energy layer is responsible for a person's adequacy, for deep memory. And all these 3 types of energies can be blocked. Their movement in some parts of the body may not be sufficient. It's like a traffic jam on the road. The cars can no longer move because of the traffic jam. The same kind of blockages are created in the energy layers. And if a person from birth, for some reason, developed an energetic blockage in the 5th energy layer, mainly the energy of knowledge and the energy of eternity are blocked together in the mental zone. Then a person's psyche becomes very tense. Because when these two types of energy are lacking, two types of tension arise in the subtle energy body. And this is autism. There is also cerebral palsy. If the damage goes to the physical zone, then this energy contorts the person. The body becomes contorted. And if tension goes to the mental zone, then a person's psyche becomes tense. It's very difficult for them to think because the energies are very tense. It's difficult for them to contact people, difficult to think, difficult to concentrate, difficult to speak. And there are ways to reduce the impact of these energetic blockages. This can be done with the help of the elements of nature. Blockages of the energy of knowledge can be cleansed with the help of water. Blockages of the energy of eternity can be removed with the help of prolonged, continuous movement. And I have methods that allow me to help such small children too. If you start to cleanse energetic blockages in a child, then gradually his blockages decrease and mental functions begin to activate. This doesn't mean he will immediately start talking because first you need to cleanse the subtle energy body. Then over a certain time a person develops skills. Why doesn't he speak? Because it's difficult for him to speak. He won't start speaking right away because he doesn't know what to say yet. He needs to somehow get used to it. A person may already be physically able to walk, but he has never walked. And he doesn't know that he needs to walk. He still needs to learn to walk. He needs time to activate this function in his body. I will be talking about all these things today because this is such an important topic for every person, especially if healthcare is paid. If you want to live healthy, then remove all these problems from your body. I will tell you this whole methodology, how to take care of yourself in general, to feel great and not have any problems in life. And we will also touch on such children, how to specifically help them, taking into account everything we discussed. Naturally, doctors won't say anything because it's the subtle energy body that's affected. There are no disturbances at the physical level. They don't see them because there are diseases that are impossible to see physically. They are connected only with the subtle energy body. And all diseases start like this. Doctors cannot understand what is happening there. It's simply not enough energy for the organs to work. And I don't even need to determine which organs are suffering in a person. I can just look at where the energetic blockages are, on which layers. You have blockages forming on the third energy layer. They are connected with blood vessels, small joints, muscles. And therefore tension is forming on the third energy layer for you. It affects the blood vessels. If you look at where the tension is going, you can see that it's going upward. This means that the blood vessels of the brain are suffering, then the joints in the upper part of the body are suffering. Elbows, fingers should already be starting to hurt. It's enough for me to just look at where the blockages are, and I can already determine what problems a person has, and each of you is the same. These energetic blockages may affect not only the body. They can have an impact on personal life or work, and then a person starts having problems there. You have static tension going into activity. This means that you have strong sensitivity during work. When you work, everything can irritate you. You, the lady in the first row, you know this. Your second energy layer is affected. The second layer is emotions. So you are emotionally constrained at work. It's difficult for you. Everything might irritate you, stress you out. Your question, young lady.
Good evening, Dr. Torsunov. I attended your festival.
Did you like it there?
Yes, I liked it very much.
Will you agree that the atmosphere created there makes it easy to be there? You don't want to leave that place.
Yes, exactly. My husband was taken to heaven in 2017, and I came here in 2018. And now with each year, I'm feeling worse and worse. I don't know what to do next.
Do you have difficulties at work? Do you have to work a lot?
Money comes to me on its own.
It just comes to you?
Because maybe I don't think about money, and it comes. I think about love. Someone who can see the past told me that I was a killer in my past life.
It's very, very kind of someone to say such a thing. A kind person did this.
I have a difficult relationship with my mother. I brought her here.
She has strong tension inside. She's constantly nervous. She is weak. She has very strong energetic blockages due to an incorrect lifestyle. You're going through a very difficult period now. It started about 3 years ago, and now you have no strength left. You need to perform some healing practices, replenish your energy reserves. You are exhausted, you have no energy, it's hard for you to get up in the morning, even food doesn't digest properly, you have no appetite, depression is coming, the meaning of life is being lost. We discussed yesterday that fate can affect us on 3 levels. On the subtle energy level, healing practices are needed to overcome fate. There is a social level, there is a spiritual one. Your subtle energy level is being destroyed by fate very harshly, and because of this there is no strength. This is treated with healing practices. On social level, you're a wonderful person, constantly thinking about other people, wishing happiness to everyone, constantly engaged in helping others, so you have no problems at this level, at the social level. That's why there is money. When a person has problems on the social level, they have no money. And the spiritual level is also excellent. You pray. The subtle energy level is being destroyed. Energetic blockages arise. The subtle energy level is the foundation of life. Without energy, you can't do anything.
Most importantly, there are no relationships.
There are no relationships because there is no strength.
They kind of escape me, I would put it this way.
But I'm not escaping. How can they not love you? What is this? Is that possible? You need to try now to accept this fate, difficult fate. Accept it. Sometimes a feeling of injustice builds up inside. Her husband passed away. She loved him. She was left alone. It's unfair. Furthermore, her mother behaves very badly, constantly getting on her nerves every day, because it's also difficult for her. You need to perform healing practices. What I'm going to talk about now, you need to do, and you will feel better. Tension is building up in your body. But I can't say that people don't love you. You are a good person. Positive energy comes from you. You believe in God, but you lack strength. And today we will talk about this, how to get strength. You can get it from nature. I do this every day. The older a person gets, the more effort they need to put in to gain strength. With age, strength decreases. What causes divorces? The first reason is that people don't understand what love is. They want to use each other for pleasure, and the pleasure ends, it inevitably ends. This is a temporary phenomenon. Infatuation is a temporary phenomenon. It passes for all people. And when the pleasure ends, a person looks for new pleasure. They don't understand what love is. True love is faithfulness, purity, and a deep relationship. It's when you've gotten to know a person deeply, their inner world, that's when love begins. If people don't engage in spiritual practice, they don't understand what love is. Therefore, they search for love. A person cannot live without love, that's why they get divorced. The second reason for divorce is not knowing how to react to a person, to events. Often bad fate begins, people cannot stay together, they have no strength, they feel that fate is crushing them when they are together. They go crazy, have an incorrect attitude toward love in general. They don't know how to behave with each other, there is no knowledge. They start to prove something to each other, trying to defend their rights, but instead they should concede. People get divorced because they don't know what love is. There's not enough faithfulness, we don't value each other deeply.
How can we fix it if no one will listen to each other? No one is an authority to anyone. How can we guide our partner? How can I tell my partner to read something? For her, it's ridiculous.
There is a certain sequence, how to keep a person from having the wrong attitude. This desire to prove oneself, to be independent, to live isolated, has two reasons. The first reason is lack of strength. Often people don't have the strength to get involved. The second reason is seeing others' mistakes more clearly than your own. We are very much in illusion. We don't understand our own habitual mistakes, our habitual behavior. Like one lady says, my husband is cheating on me, and she suffers. It's very painful for her. I say, but you remember? You also cheated on him before? She says, yes, and she says it so softly, kindly. When the husband cheats, it causes suffering. But when I cheat, it's normal. That's the difference in perception. That's how a person is built. When a woman leaves, she says, we broke up. But when her husband leaves her, she says, he betrayed me, he left me. And when she leaves, she says, we broke up. That's how perception works. This can be changed through kindness. You need to accept the person. The only way to accept them is to understand that I myself acted the same way. That's why this is given to me. This is called faith in God. What is faith in God? It's faith in justice. If a person believes in God, they know that whatever they have in life is not without reason. For example, why did God give such a child? If He is kind, why did He give such a child? Because this child develops you. He made you search for truth, seek justice, look for help. The child comes into your life and develops you. If it weren't for the child, you wouldn't be sitting here. This is God's mercy. It can manifest in different ways, also in the form of such trials that a person goes through. A close person can behave cynically, but you need to draw strength from the Lord by praying to Him. When a person prays, they breathe God. You get strength and kindly accept the close person. You begin to understand that I was like this before, therefore such a person was given to me. So I need to endure and accept this. This is my fate. All this is my fate, and when you accept fate, this is the first stage of victory. You feel that it's okay, you can live with this person and forgive kindly. You begin to overcome fate. This is the first stage. Calmness appears in the heart. You feel everything will be fine. The second stage, you can talk to the person without getting irritated. The third stage is changing their heart. A child, for example, got an F. First, you need to accept it. Don't scold them. Don't get angry at this time. You need to accept that you have such a child. This is how fate is arranged. Next, you need to feel calm, feel that everything will be fine with the child. It's not a big deal that the child got an F, it's okay, and only then talk to them kindly. You'll learn a lot of interesting things about the child. You'll learn that they felt bad before the lesson, that the teacher doesn't like them. You'll learn that this subject is difficult for them, that they will never be able to know this subject well. And so on. You'll learn a lot. You can consider a person bad, but when you learn about them, your perception changes. Yesterday, a woman decided to leave her husband. I started explaining how difficult it was for him to live, why he behaved that way. I explained that fatigue had accumulated in his heart. He worked a lot, couldn't rest, and had no strength to communicate. And she perceived this as not loving her, as betrayal, as cruelty, but he simply couldn't cope with it. He had no strength. We see everything from one side, but we don't live with villains, right? There are people who are evil by nature, villains, but we live with normal people. So there is some reason why a person behaves so badly. If a person is a bandit, bad by nature, wanting to kill everyone, nobody lives with such people. So there is a reason why a person behaves this way. To understand the reason, you need to accept them first. Men and women are completely different. My wife is very sensitive, like all women, and she gets tired from relationships, from communication. She needs to be alone. When I understood this, I stopped bothering her. When I set myself up for this, she herself began to try to be closer because she felt that I understood her. You should have a kind approach to people, then a person changes. At some point, like an iceberg melts, it melts from below, then suddenly it flips over, and so does a person too. This is called gratitude. When gratitude appears in the heart, the person turns toward you. They cannot help but listen to what you say. You speak, they listen, because they know you won't say something without reason. They know that many times you didn't say anything, you were patient. Well, if you're speaking, it means there's a purpose. But if we constantly speak, judge the person, they won't listen. They will listen if we have kept ourselves from saying anything to the person many times before, if we speak only as a last resort. But it's very important to understand that a person who has no self-esteem will never be happy in their personal life. You can endure and simply humiliate yourself because you're afraid that the person will leave you. Or you can, on the contrary, not endure and constantly argue. Self-esteem is a power that comes from God. There are two types of self-esteem. There is self-esteem that feeds from within. This is called pride. Pride never leads to love. And there is self-esteem that is nourished by God. When a person lives correctly, does everything right, then in their heart there is always confirmation. Well done, well done, well done. And when a person lives correctly, they rely on this confirmation. They feel support in their heart because they live correctly. They value this support, and this support forms the right sense of self-esteem. You live honestly, and God considers you a good person, and you rely on this feeling that God gives from within. You don't rely on what you yourself think. If you try to prove something to everyone, this is called putting on airs. And why does a person put on airs? Because they're trying to prove something about themselves to everyone. The reason they don't rely on God, they rely on themselves. This is called a proud person, or a person who doesn't have a righteous internal foundation. If a person relies on conscience, on purity, on God, God is pleased with them. Such a person can be self-sufficient, and this self-sufficiency is exactly what is always needed in relationships. If someone close to you says you're bad, then you can compare it with what your heart tells you, and you don't need to get very upset about what they're saying. This is called self-sufficiency or inner stability of a person. It comes from God. People tell you, you're bad. Everyone can tell you that you're bad, but you know exactly how God evaluates you inside, and therefore you're calm. You don't worry much about not being appreciated externally. If you feel with your heart, this is called faith. Some people get lost when other people speak badly about them. Their self-esteem decreases, their sense of self-worth falls, and immediately the person becomes crushed, especially here. Here, everything relies on a sense of self-esteem. People evaluate you based on the self-esteem that emanates from you. And even if you're putting on airs, that's also good. And that's how it's perceived here. If a person has real dignity, everyone immediately begins to respond. When I arrived, I went straight from the plane to a steam room. I got there in ice-cold water. Everyone appreciated it. There were many people there. They all immediately began to respect me. They saw that I was standing in the water and not even flinching an eyebrow. I was calm. The water was 5 degrees Celsius. Everyone else was getting in and out, but I stood there. People immediately began to respect me. Everyone respects strength. I immediately noticed that people respect strength. They like it, they respect it. But true strength comes from God. If a person relies on God, then they feel truly worthy. And when two people live together and they rely on God, their self-esteem is right, then it's not difficult to form the right relationship if they know what a loving relationship is. Many people don't know. A loving relationship means a light style. Mostly people take love very seriously, very seriously. Imagine if I started speaking seriously with you now. Would you stay for the lecture? Would you stay? Yes? No, you would run away. I'm telling you for sure. You've never even heard me speak seriously. When I talk with you, I speak very softly, gently, with humor. But at the same time, I discuss serious things. Through love, everything is easily perceived. This is called a loving relationship. I speak the same way at home with my wife too, kindly, softly, with humor. And then love is formed. A relationship of love means a light style. According to the Vedas, in ancient knowledge, it is said that love came from the highest love. Actually, this is not our energy of love, this is God's energy, and He creates this energy in a relationship with His spouse. This knowledge about God's spouse is secret. We know Jesus Christ had Mary Magdalene. Nobody knows for sure, but she was the first to learn about Christ, and she was the first to see Him when He was resurrected. This means she stands higher than all others in relation to God, stands above all. Not His mother saw Him first, but His beloved saw Him. And she was the first to learn about His deeds because He showed her His first miracle. It's secret knowledge. Nobody talks about this. God's relationship with His spouse means a light style. This relationship is called Leela in Sanskrit. Leela means both play and love simultaneously. It's like a game, meaning you need to play with a loved one. A light, cheerful style, half joking. If you want to say something serious, say it kindly. If you start making square eyes, love ends at that time. When a person becomes impudent, this is also part of love. They later take advantage. It turns into impudence. This is part of love. When a loved one becomes impudent, you need to step a little away from them and show them that you won't play these games. And they immediately start to respect you. They feel that you can be happy both with them and without them, and everything is fine.
I didn't have this knowledge before. Maybe we even humiliated ourselves. I agree.
It is never too late to learn.
You said that Moscow has heavy energy.
Just like here, like in any metropolis.
It's difficult to live in a big city. I've been trying to find my own place for some time now.
Does it suit you here? Is it okay?
Yes, but I don't know anymore. It's becoming difficult for me to choose. Stay where I live or move.
Where do you live?
In an apartment.
In Brooklyn. Is that New York?
Yes.
This place suits you.
Yes, thank you. I feel that. It's just not really my home. And it doesn't fully belong to me, and I need to solve this problem. And for several years now, I've wanted my own place.
You want to have your own house, right?
To have my own place because I'm not the full owner. Because it still belongs to my ex-husband.
And if according to your fate you don't have the possibility to live in your own house, what then? But if suddenly you don't have it, then what? Not live at all? Maybe just accept your fate and live accepting what God has given. Nobody's kicking you out of there anyway. It's like it's not yours and yours at the same time.
Yes, but I can't officially divorce my ex-husband.
Why do you need to divorce him?
Because we are officially married, but we are not husband and wife.
Is he already living with some other woman?
I don't know. It's been 7-8 years already.
He's not taking his house back. He respects you, treats you well.
He's afraid.
He could have just taken it back.
He won't let me go.
Is he afraid of divorce and division of property? Maybe you should get back together with him?
He doesn't want to.
Then why won't he let you go?
I don't know.
But find out. You won't be able to live in your own house. But if you resolve the issue concerning your family life, you'll automatically resolve housing issues. Not everything is resolved there. You didn't understand this person. You didn't fully understand him. He's offended by you.
What should I do?
Get closer to him. Try to talk to him. Communicate. He will shut down for some time, but then he will meet you halfway. You acted selfishly in your relationship with him. Yes, you need to return and try to resolve the issue with him.
Can I talk to you again later?
I don't always suggest getting back together, but you see what the situation is here? She acted selfishly with this person. And God is not letting her go now, not giving her the opportunity to move forward in life, because she has nowhere to live. She lives in this place, and that person doesn't marry anyone, remains somehow nearby, neither here nor there. God didn't like your action. You wanted to live freely in the American way, but our freedom is in our relationship with God. We cannot behave too freely in relationships with people, and you exceeded your rights. You need to sort things out with this person. And maybe you won't live together, but you need to make sure that he calms down, that his heart calms down. Right now his heart is not at peace. Resolve this issue. Life will move forward. Right now it has come to a standstill. God is holding you back. If you take a step further, you will be punished. Right now, God is not punishing you yet. He is waiting for you to come to your senses. And as soon as you start taking further steps, you will move away from the possibility of having a house, from your opportunities in life, from family. You will be going further into the desert. You should always act in a way that pleases God. God wanted you to stay together, and you didn't act the way He likes. Everything was complicated, I know, but you don't know what I know. You don't know this person's heart, but I can see it. You need to start a dialogue with him, cleanse your heart, communicate with the person.
A question about health. My daughter got sick with bipolar disorder about 8 years ago. I just want to know your opinion. Everything was fine with her.
But will she follow my advice or not?
She did a lot of things, followed a lot of advice. Medications didn't help.
They don't help anyone.
My husband also knows a lot. He took her to a monastery. They lived in a monastery for 6 months. Prayed.
Did it help?
Yes, she became much better. He is very focused on the body. He said that one needs to fast for 30 days, and then it will cleanse everything.
Well done, he understands.
But she managed 21 days.
Okay, let me start the lecture then. Yes, everything comes down to one thing. I'll tell you how she should heal.
Excuse me. I've had difficulties in life for the last 3.5 years, with work, moving to different states, and with divorce. And somehow nothing is working out with jobs.
You're just tired. You're restless. You start working somewhere, and you need about 8 months to establish yourself, but you can't handle it. You don't have enough strength. You feel it's not working, so you quit. It's not working, so you quit. This is called restlessness. You need to get out of this state. Your subtle energy body is affected. Energetic blockages are interfering.
What if I've been working in one place for 1.5 years? I'm just thinking about starting my own business and doing something else.
Where do you work?
I'm a stylist. I work with hair.
Having your own business is good, but not now, a little later. It will come naturally. Remember, in life, all the best things come gradually on their own. This job came to you naturally. You didn't strain yourself too much. And where you strain yourself, you always fail. If you start straining yourself, it won't work out. So you should know the law, the rules. Wait. Work as a stylist. Wait for another 8-9 months maybe. And you'll have the opportunity to create something of your own, to start something up. This opportunity comes through people, through resources, through knowledge. Calmness appears in the heart. Right now you're just restless. You want things faster.
Thank you.
If a small sprout is growing, can you make it grow faster? You'll pull it out by the roots, and that's it. It's the same with the sprout of your fate. You're pulling it out. You don't let it grow.
So everything will come to me. I just need to wait for the result from my first job.
Be patient, yes. Remember, a little more than a year ago, you abruptly started to change something, invested money or something else. And these abrupt actions led you to failure. Don't do that. You need to be calm.
Thank you.
This comes from certain problems. It's called static tension. It affects your work. You can't tolerate the situation. You get tired. It's hard for you. Irritation comes. I'm going to address this topic now and tell you about it.
Can I ask a question? I won't be able to stay until the end. I have a small child, 2 months old, and my relationship with my husband has deteriorated very, very much. I don't know what to do with him, what to do with myself, what to do in this situation. The child takes up a lot of attention and time, but my husband seems like a different person.
You're not giving energy to him. He needs love, but you can't give it to him. You don't have the opportunity. In general, when small children are born, people don't have enough strength. The child takes everything. The woman spends energy on the child, and there's not enough energy for the husband. He starts to get nervous. It becomes a vicious circle. Exhaustion occurs. And again, we return to this topic of replenishment. How to replenish yourself. You need to learn how to replenish yourself.
It has gotten to the point where it's dangerous for me to be around him.
This is called static tension, strong, increased sensitivity. He suffers from irritability. You suffer from resentment. The child cries, can't sleep. You don't get enough sleep. Sensitivity increases even more. This is called static tension. A feeling of injustice and despair builds up inside. A person struggles like a bird in a cage. The solution is very simple, but you won't believe me. You all need to go to the swimming pool together. Water gives calmness, trees give calmness, and the stationary position of the body as well. But you won't be able to do a stationary position of the body now because you don't have the strength for it. You have a strong static tension. You're in a state of restlessness you can't stop. You have a strong internal anxiety. You need water. Do you have a bathtub at home?
Yes.
Lie in the bathtub in 28-degree water. Take a bath with your husband in turn. I'm going to explain the methodology of the treatment now. I'm telling the same thing. I just need to tell you so that you would already learn to do it. We're done with questions for now. We've been talking for a whole hour already. The bad period will end in 5 months.
Thank you.
You can do nothing now. Keep arguing. It will all end in 5 months anyway. I have a question for you. What do you think when a person is nervous, when they're in a bad mood, have no attention span, poor work ability, are easily offended, angry, restless, tense? Are these mental states or physiological states?
Mental.
You all say mental, so you need to go to a psychologist, right? My dear friends, all these conditions mean a lack of energy, and you don't need to go to a psychologist, because a psychologist won't give you energy. Try to understand what I'm about to tell you. The woman has one of these conditions: despair, being easily offended, irritability. This is simply a lack of energy. I said, lie in water. She thinks Dr. Torsunov says the same thing over and over. Of course, if 50 hungry people come to a lecture, they ask, Dr. Torsunov, I have a strong heartbeat. I say, you need to eat. And you say, I feel weak. I can barely walk. I have no strength. You need to eat. All right? Dr. Torsunov, my hands are shaking. You need to eat. And in all cases, the answer is the same, because it's the same problem. Most people now suffer from a lack of energy. In a metropolis, there is no energy of nature. There is no energy of water, no energy of the sun, no energy of air, and a person cannot live without energy. The functions of their subtle energy body begin to suffer. Let's study this topic. When a person feels despair, irritability, being easily offended, anger, increased sensitivity, inability to tolerate someone, these are conditions that you, ladies, are experiencing now. This is a lack of water energy, or the energy of knowledge. A person's energy of knowledge is replenished through the element of water. When a person gains knowledge, they calm down. Water calms them. A person becomes calm and stops suffering from irritability, anger, and resentment. Despair passes. This is the result of water's influence. There are 2 ways to get water energy, not the water itself, but water energy. One way is to get into it. When you connect with the element of nature, its energy begins to fill you. This is called passive cleansing. As a result, a person calms down, irritability passes, hypersensitivity, anger, resentment pass. For example, if a person is deeply offended by someone, they can stay in water for some time, and they become able to forgive. The energy of water gives a person calmness. When there is not enough calmness in the body, inflammatory processes, allergies, and skin diseases begin. Inflammatory processes are caused by lack of water energy, or the energy of knowledge. In relationships, this manifests as increased vulnerability. Women become more sensitive. It's difficult for them to be around loved ones. This means a lack of water energy. Men develop anger. They begin to behave cruelly, very roughly. It also means a lack of water energy, lack of calmness. If a person maintains a stationary position of the body, then they absorb water energy. For example, while a person stands motionless, one absorbs energy. Now the question is, how long should one be in contact with water? It all depends on which energy layer is affected. There are 5 layers of the human energy field. For example, you lady, your third and fifth layers are affected. So your thoughts are suffering because the third energy layer is connected with thoughts. You have tension in your thoughts. And the fifth energy layer is responsible for satisfaction in life. You have no happiness. You feel that you cannot be in this situation in which you are now. It's simply unbearable for you. If the water is 28 degrees Celsius, this is the warmest of the cool temperatures. That means 29-degree water is no longer considered cool. That's already warm water, and 28 is still cool. So 28-degree water removes static tension, and starting from 29 degrees, it will remove both static and dynamic tension, because when there's heat, other energies are already being cleansed. So a person stays in water. Of course, it will take a long time to cleanse, because the warmer the water, the slower the cleansing process. For example, if you get into 4-degree water, you only need 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes, to cleanse the entire subtle energy body. But if it's 28 degrees, you need 70 minutes to cleanse the entire subtle energy body. One energy layer is cleansed in 14 minutes. If you stay in water for 14 minutes, your first layer is cleansed. There's no particular overload there. Then you stay for another 14 minutes, 28 minutes in total. The second layer is cleansed, and then you start shaking. Why? Because there are energetic blockages. On the third layer, where thoughts are located, you have tension there, and this layer is blocked. And when water begins to cleanse it, after 28 minutes, it will be difficult for you to continue to stay in water for another 14 minutes. You'll start feeling cold, then you'll relax. The fourth layer is not affected. When you get closer to 60 minutes, the cleansing of the fifth layer will begin, and the shaking will start again. Then you need to warm up a little. If the water is 22 degrees, then cleansing happens faster. But 22-degree water, though it's room temperature, is already considered cold water, and it cleanses one layer in 7.5 minutes. Complete cleansing occurs in 40 minutes. Tomorrow we all will go together to run along the sea or walk or crawl. You'll do what you can. And then we'll all go to the sauna. I'll show you how to get into ice-cold water. In one city, there were 150 people at the lecture. Of those, 65 people went with me to the Black Lake. Or maybe it was a blue lake formed from springs. I get confused because there is also Black Lake near Moscow. We've swam everywhere. There's a river flowing from the Blue Lake. In this lake, the water is 4 degrees even in summer, and in the river it's 7 degrees, and all 65 of us, even children, stayed in this 7-degree water for 10 minutes. The first 2 minutes are difficult. You shake, your body stiffens, your legs cramp, but then when a person endures, they become calm, comfortable, and can stay as long as needed. And then everyone went to the steam room, and all 65 people sat there. There was a large steam room. All 65 people sat there and then got into the water again, and no one got sick. And everyone felt very strong relaxation, happiness, when they experienced this practice for themselves once. They said they wouldn't be able to live without it anymore. They liked it so much, you just need to go together with Dr. Torsunov once. At 8 in the morning, we all gather, run, walk, or crawl for an hour and 50 minutes, and then go to the sauna at 10 a.m. We'll be walking right along the ocean. I'll teach you to walk on water.
And how does this affect the doshas? If a person has, for example, a dominant vata dosha?
Doshas are already a body affliction. I won't talk about any doshas now. Let's talk about the subtle body, the subtle energy body. Everything starts with it. Doshas are already manifested in the physical body as a result of energy disruption. Static tension is pitta dosha, but you should understand that it's not all so simple. So let's talk today about the subtle energy body, not the physical one, okay? Let's say a person maintains a stationary position of the body. They don't move, they just stand. One energy layer is cleansed in 13 minutes. It takes 65 minutes to cleanse all 5 layers. When a person stands, their energy goes upward, healing their head and neck. But if there's tension in the lower organs, inflammatory processes in the lower body, then you need to sit in the butterfly pose, feet together, knees apart. It also takes 13 minutes for one layer. It takes about 65 minutes to cleanse the whole body. You may sit in the butterfly pose or in the diamond pose. The way you're sitting now, nothing is being cleansed. No. You need to perform a healing practice. That means a person is in an uncomfortable position.
What about when you stand and close your eyes and get into the diamond position?
You have severely affected brain vessels. You need to stand to heal, but it's difficult for you to stand. Let's not get distracted. So you can make life easier for yourself. For example, if a person cannot stand, they lean against a wall and stand near the wall. Then they gradually learn to stand. You can sit in the butterfly pose with your feet together, knees apart, lean against the back of the sofa and put your feet on a soft sofa. This way is easier. If everything gets numb, it means you have strong static tension. When a person cannot stand or sit for 5 minutes, it means they have very strong static tension. You, lady, are nodding your head. You have very strong static tension.
I can stand calmly for 70 minutes.
When did you start standing?
I was treated by you for 2 months.
Well done, great. But you're going through a bad period now, and tension is constantly building up in you. Therefore, in addition to static exercises, you also need water. You need to stay in water because sometimes static tension accumulates in a person due to fate. Just a stationary position of the body is not enough. You also need water.
At the very beginning, I couldn't even stand for 15 minutes.
Yes, but you also need water, and then it will be really great. But your static tension will continue to accumulate for about another year. Now is a difficult period. If you hadn't been doing this, you would have had serious problems. Your third energy layer is also affected. Blood vessels are suffering in the body, and the second energy layer is affected as well. You have inflammatory processes in the mucous membranes.
Dr. Torsunov, what if I do the healing practice in sitting position? I tried doing the diamond pose, then the butterfly pose.
The diamond pose is very difficult. It's a very challenging static exercise.
I almost fainted.
You almost fainted because when a person maintains a stationary position of the body, for example, the blood vessels in the third energy layer lose their tone significantly. Let's say a person is performing the healing practice until they reach a blockage in the third energy layer, then their blood pressure drops sharply and they faint. But when they continue the cleansing, gradually this force of static tension decreases and this practice becomes easier for them. When I diagnosed all this on myself, I realized that I had been doing static exercises all my life, but I lacked water, and I understood that I needed water. When I started getting into ice-cold water, my legs would cramp severely, which is a sign of static tension in the body. When you have these cramps, that is static tension. And only on my 5th attempt could I enter the water, because my legs would cramp unbearably. The static tension was moving downward in my body and causing my legs to cramp because of this. About 3 months ago, I went to Belarus where they took me to a spa with water at 0.2 degrees. It's not even 1 degree, it's less than 1. There was a pool where water was cooled, as in a refrigerator, and covered with ice crust on top. I walked into it like I was entering my own home. Nothing twitched at all, absolutely nothing. I went in and stood for 4.5 minutes. In such water, that's enough to cleanse the entire body. And then I lay down in the sauna, and for 21 minutes, cold was coming out of me in the sauna. Only after that did I start to warm up. This means that I don't have static tension. You see, I'm absolutely calm. I don't get nervous or irritated. Can you see it or not?
Yes.
This means there is no static tension. I now have full contact with water. I handle this issue well. The next type of tension is called dynamic tension. When everything in a person's body is tense, you call it vata dosha. Everything in the body is tense. The tension itself can be static and dynamic, and it also combines into vata dosha. 2 tensions can contribute to vata dosha together. Mainly it's dynamic tension. Ayurveda says you need rest. If everything is tense, you need rest. Don't move. But my treatment is different, because I treat the subtle energy body. If you have dynamic tension, you have internal spasms, pain, everything is tense, constipation, anxious thoughts, then you need prolonged continuous movement. Why? Because vata dosha is the incorrect functioning of prana energy. Why does it work incorrectly? Because of energetic blockages. Once you've cleansed energetic blockages, energy flows normally, and there's no vata dosha at all. The energy of eternity starts to flow normally in the body. In order to normalize it, prolonged continuous movement is needed. But it's very important for everyone to understand that if you haven't removed static tension from your body, then prolonged continuous movement is contraindicated, because prolonged continuous movement heats a person up. And if a person is already overheated, they suffer from static tension or irritability, despair, they are easily offended. These are signs of overheating, mental and physical tension. When a person engages in prolonged continuous movement while overheated, their pulse rises significantly and joints become inflamed. They cannot perform this practice without harming their health. Therefore, it's best to start with water. Well, we can all walk together tomorrow. We'll go to the sauna anyway. You won't have time to overheat too much. We'll walk and run a little. When a person walks continuously for 48 minutes, they cleanse one energy layer. Accordingly, 48 multiplied by 5 equals 4 hours of walking to cleanse all 5 energy layers. 21 kilometers once every 6 days. 1 layer can be cleansed every day. 2 layers once every 2 days. 3 layers once every 3 days. 4 layers once every 4 days. 5 layers once every 5, 6, or 7 days. Once a week, you should walk continuously for 4 hours at a moderate pace and cleanse all 5 layers. You might say, Dr. Torsunov, can we just walk for 48 minutes every day? No, that won't work. You will only cleanse the first energy layer. As a result, athletes who, let's say, go to the gym and exercise for an hour, they cleanse the first 2 layers but don't cleanse anything beyond that. The joints, muscles, and blood vessels that are most strained during training are located in the 3rd layer. If the workout is short, they use up all this energy but don't replenish it. As a result, the person develops overload in the joints and blood vessels, and they're told they've overtrained in their gym. But this is actually complete nonsense, because when I started running to cleanse all 5 layers, all my muscles, joints, and blood vessels began to heal, not become depleted, but heal, you see. My blood vessels now, though I'm almost 60 years old, they're like iron. I bought myself an inversion table to hang upside down. For 3.5 minutes, passive cleansing of static tension occurs. You just hang there and your body gets cleansed. I hung for 17.5 minutes to cleanse all 5 layers at once and felt nothing, and I'm almost 60 years old. Imagine hanging a 60-year-old person upside down for 10 minutes. Then you might as well order a coffin. That would be the end of their health improvement. I had absolutely no problems. This means the body is clean and well trained.
Does the time of day affect cleansing?
Cleansing always happens with the rising sun until noon. Cleansing still happens during sunset as well. Actually, you can do all this in the evening too, but the effect will be much weaker for overall health improvement. You can run on a treadmill at home, for example. Not everyone in New York can find a place to run. You can buy a treadmill, open a window, and run at home. Less energy will enter the body, but it's still better than drinking vodka. When you run, you cleanse your body.
What about cycling?
Cycling is not the same, because you need the whole body to move, not just the legs.
What about swimming?
While swimming, passive cleansing in water will happen faster than dynamic cleansing. If it's a pool with 28-degree water, after 70 minutes all your static tension will be cleansed, and then it becomes dangerous to continue swimming because you'll get hypothermia. And dynamic tension will only be cleansed for about 2 or 3 layers, resulting in an imbalance. Therefore, walking is best. Running is better, of course, it cleanses deeper, but running for 5 layers is not easy, my dears. Can you run 17 kilometers in an hour and 50 minutes with me? No, so walking is better. But there are only 2 options, either walk or crawl, or you'll end up bedridden.
Dr. Torsunov, what if there are back problems and doctors don't recommend running?
If doctors don't recommend it, then we need to understand why this is happening. Doctors say that you can't go in the sun, it's dangerous. You can't stay in the water, you'll catch a cold. One very wealthy person in Russia has personal doctors. He has a plunge pool. I suggested sitting in the plunge pool and then going to the sauna. He called his doctor, and the doctor told him that he would develop kidney failure. I said, what this doctor is talking about, let's go to the plunge pool. And he sat there thinking and said, well, okay, let's go to the plunge pool. He sat with me in the plunge pool, cleansing 5 energy layers. He had never done this before. He got into the water. The water was about 11 degrees at that time. We sat in it for 18 minutes. Then we stayed in the steam room. Then we got back into the plunge pool. I called him the next day and he said, I have never felt so good in my life. I'm completely relaxed. The tension is gone and I feel so good. After that, he started practicing all of this. And why does kidney failure or hypothermia develop? A person gets into ice-cold water, reaches the point of cramps, spasms start, and they get out at that moment. They stop the cleansing when they reach the energetic blockage. That's it. Then a cold follows. But if you stay in water cleansing all 5 layers, there will be no problems at all. Energy moves well.
Can you get in cold water without being used to it?
But I'm telling you, 65 people went into ice-cold water and then went to the sauna, then back to the water again, and nothing bad happened to anyone.
Do you recommend a machine that generates cold below -4 degrees?
Are you talking about air, ice vapor? Well, it's roughly the same thing. Ice-cold water is better, but vapor is fine too. After that, you still need to be in heat for 3 minutes. I don't know how much you'll cleanse in 3 minutes, probably all not the layers. You see, if you don't do a complete cleansing, it's dangerous. If part of the subtle energy body is cleansed, part is not, there's an imbalance. Therefore, you still need to gradually reach 4 hours of walking. I'll tell you now how long to stay in the water. You need to go to the website torsunov.ru. There is a materials section. In this section, there is a calculation of time for healing practices. There's an icon with a person in water. You click on it and set the temperature. Let's say the water temperature in the sea is 20 degrees now. You need to stay there for a little more than 35 minutes to cleanse the entire subtle energy body. When the number 5 appears, it means 5 layers. The same with movement. You said how many kilometers you walked and how long it took, and the program will show how many layers you've cleansed.
Do you need to stay still in cold water?
You can swim.
My husband swims, but he's still irritable. He can swim for an hour.
There might be an imbalance. If there's no prolonged continuous movement, then there will be an imbalance. It's also very important to transform water energy into static energy. After being in the water, you need to maintain a stationary position of the body so that this water energy is absorbed in your body. You say he swims, but how often does he swim? Maybe he does it once a year. Does he swim in the sea every day?
He's been swimming in the ocean for 2 years already.
Okay, good for him. He needs to start doing static exercises too, to absorb this energy, and then it will be okay. He does not absorb this energy. He needs to stand motionless too.
How should I warm up if I've been lying in the sauna?
Go back into cold water at the end. You should stay in ice-cold water for 5 layers, then go to the sauna for 5 layers, then back into ice-cold water at the end, but only for 1 layer. If the water is 5 degrees, you should stay for 4.5 minutes there, then go to the sauna, then back into cold water for 1 minute at the very end. Stay for 5 minutes in water at first, then go to the sauna. If the temperature in the sauna is comfortable, then you need 50 minutes to cleanse all 5 energy layers.
Can cold water be replaced with ice rooms? Ice cave?
Yes, it can be replaced. The same cleansing happens there, but it's combined with dynamic cleansing. Water cleanses static tension. And if there's air, it's a slightly different cleansing, but the speed of cleansing is approximately the same. I just haven't practiced this method. There are different methods. For example, take a child with autism. Such a child has a static dynamic blockage on the 5th energy layer, but a small child won't walk for 4 hours. And you need to learn to cleanse them passively. If you sit a child next to a tree, a thick tree, especially a deciduous species, 1 layer is cleansed in 20 minutes. If a child sits for an hour and 40 minutes, then all 5 layers are cleansed passively. The child simply does nothing, plays, sits with their back to the tree. Even if the child leans slightly away from the tree, passive cleansing of static tension will be continued. You've cleansed half of the static tension, but dynamic tension is more difficult to cleanse, but there are methods, for example, a salt room, where the temperature is not high, about 50 degrees. In a salt room, dynamic tension is cleansed and toxins are also cleansed there, as well as 3 types of energetic blockages. It takes about 10 minutes to cleanse 1 energy layer if you don't overheat. But if overheating occurs, a person is really sweating heavily, then it's 8 minutes per layer. If you sweat heavily, then the whole cleansing takes 40 minutes. Better not to sweat heavily. It's best when it's comfortably warm but not hot. Then it takes 50 minutes for all 5 layers. And you should always finish with cold water. But for a small child, for example, what can you do? You can put them in 28-degree water for 70 minutes. And then finish with warm water. Just warm them up. And if you do this once every 3 days, static tension begins to cleanse passively. And dynamic tension can be cleansed if you put the child in 36-38-degree salt water. You pour several kilograms of salt into the bath, stir it, and the child sits in 36-38-degree water for about 45 minutes. Thus, dynamic tension is removed. Then you need to finish with cool water because the child will be heated. You need to cool them down a little. If once every 3 to 4 days you place the child by a tree, then alternate 28-degree and 36-degree water, then this child gradually begins to heal. It takes 4 or 5 months just to cleanse the blockages, and then the intelligence will begin to recover. If you're also walking outside, the child will be running after you, then stopping, then running, because they can't walk continuously. But you should walk continuously, not at an average pace, because the child is shorter. They need to go a bit slower than the average adult pace. Such a 4-hour walk, if the child moves with you, also cleanses all 5 layers of the human energy field. If you do this once every 6 days, it will be excellent. There is passive cleansing of dynamic tension. This is a salt room. Put a child in a salt room, it's 50 degrees there. It's comfortable but still hot, and dynamic tension will be cleansed, because static tension is not difficult to cleanse. You can use 28-degree water, you can use trees, but for dynamic tension you need to use salt water or such a salt room. When a person lies in a steam room, in a sauna, their dynamic tension and toxins are cleansed. If they lie in a hammam, static tension and toxins are cleansed.
How long can one stay in a sauna?
Did you first go into cold water to cleanse the 5 layers? No? I didn't tell you that besides static tension and dynamic tension, there are also toxins in the body. Static tension is produced from irritability, dynamic tension from laziness, hopelessness and restlessness, and toxins are produced from negative thoughts, from disappointment and depression. And you have toxins in your first energy layer. You enter a sauna, stay for 10 minutes there, and all these toxins go into your blood because there are countless toxins in the body. You start feeling bad. Similarly, if you stand in the sun, in bright sunlight, one energy layer is cleansed in half an hour. If you stand in the sun for half an hour, you'll also feel bad because you have toxins in your first layer that need to be cleansed. At first, you stay in water before the sauna at least for 2 layers. It takes 15 minutes in 22-degree water, then stay for 10 minutes in the sauna, and then again about 7 minutes in water. If you do this practice once every 4 days, after 3 weeks, you'll cleanse the first layer, and you'll be able to stay in the sauna for 20 minutes, and you'll be able to stay in the water longer afterward. This way, you can reach the 4th energy layer where you have even more toxins, which is why there's excess weight. Each layer is responsible for something. The first layer is responsible for contact with this world, for contact with people, for contact with the weather. If a person has an energetic blockage in the first layer, or static tension, or dynamic tension, then it's very difficult for them to force themselves to do something. It's difficult to interact with people, difficult to change climate. For example, they suffer from severe climate disorder. The second layer is responsible for a person's emotions, mucous membranes, skin, lymph nodes. Mucous membranes are the throat, bronchi, stomach, intestines, skin. When emotions are affected, when a person behaves emotionally incorrectly, their mucous membranes are affected. When a person has problems with thoughts, this is the 3rd layer. Blood vessels, muscles, and joints of fingers, elbows, and large joints are affected. The 4th layer is responsible for mood. If a person's mood suffers, then large joints suffer, elbow joints, spine, all internal organs such as the thyroid gland, liver, kidneys, pancreas, heart, female appendages, mood suffer. All these are located on the 4th layer. It's already deep and difficult to treat. You need to walk for 4 hours or stay in water for 4 energy layers. In 22-degree water, you need to stay for at least 30 minutes to reach the 4th layer. And the 5th layer is responsible for happiness, deep satisfaction in life, for a person's adequacy, for good memory. The 5th layer is affected in elderly people. When a person suddenly remembers here, doesn't remember there, this is already the 5th layer. Mental illnesses are also located there. Autism, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, schizophrenia are also located in the 5th layer. The nervous system suffers when the 5th layer is affected. It is treated by standing for 65 minutes. 5 energy layers get cleansed. A person with schizophrenia should stand for 65 minutes every day and walk for 4 hours once a week. After a year, schizophrenia will be cured. It's a great technique.
Can one also sit in the butterfly pose?
In the butterfly pose, yes. There are passive static exercises, and there are active ones. For example, you stand leaning against the wall, cleansing happens, but not as strong as if you were standing straight. But it's still good. You can start with this. In the butterfly pose, if you lean your back against the sofa, it's easier to sit, but cleansing still happens. Sit for 65 minutes. Moreover, if in this pose your body goes numb, switch to a cross-legged position. It becomes easier. Then return to the butterfly pose again. This is also normal. Cleansing is continuing. Therefore, everything starts with static exercises. At first, you should stay in water and do static exercises near trees, then gradually increase prolonged continuous movement, then start practicing water fasting. It takes 12 hours to cleanse 1 energy layer. All 5 energy layers are cleansed in 2.5 days. That means you don't need to fast for 21 days. 2.5 days is enough, but you need to do this regularly. Because once you've fasted for 2.5 days, you have to do this once every 3 weeks because your cleansing has only begun, and you need to do this according to schedule to cleanse the entire body. There is also passive cleansing. It's heat-based cleansing. Toxins can be cleansed by using a sauna. For example, if you cleanse one energy layer in a sauna, then you can already be in the sun for 30 minutes without getting sunstroke because you've cleansed the first layer of toxins. If you can stay in a sauna for 2 layers, then you can stay in the sun for 60 minutes without getting sunstroke because you have 2 layers cleansed. I can stay in bright sunlight for 2.5 hours, and I'm fine, no problems, because I periodically cleanse all 5 layers in a sauna. I first get into ice-cold water, then go to the sauna to cleanse 5 energy layers, and then again return into cold water.
What about a pool with chlorine?
Better a pool with chlorine than no pool at all. You need to understand that even water with chlorine cleanses static tension. It's okay. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.